Welcome to Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson. Today, we are going to be talking about relationships since Valentine's Day is right around the corner. And I will say that although this is our annual Valentine's Day show here on Fresh Waves, this is a show that you can listen to any time of the year, because everything that we're talking about in the show today is not the hallmark, quote unquote, Valentine's Day goop. As a matter of fact, it's the exact opposite of that. It's not the cards and the flowers and the chocolates and red hearts taped all over the walls that are taken down the second that Valentine's Day is over. We're going to be talking about the most important relationship of all, and that relationship is the love that we have for ourselves. And if we have the love for ourselves, then it's like, if you can imagine a glass filled with bubbly love and joy and wonder, and that glass is full. And when it starts to overflow with fullness and love and joy, it sprinkles little particles of love and joy all over those around them. That's where Valentine's Day starts. The love starts with the love of self. And this morning, I'm so happy to have my annual guest, and I want her to be more than annual. She could be once a month for all I care, Angela Dacey. Angela is a teacher. She teaches personal development. She uses color psychology as her tool. She talks color energies, bringing color into our lives and making our lives colorful and joyful. Hello, Angela Dacey.
Hello, Brenda. It's so nice to be back.
We love having you on the show, but I think I've already said that.
Thank you, too. And I will come on every month. I love it.
Well, we love to catch up and talk about colors. And I know that you and I do this annually, but there are new listeners who've never heard us speak before. So I think we should start off by talking a little bit about what we think self-love is.
Well, that's a great question and insight, because I think we all try to strive for it, but I believe every day we're always searching for the meaning of that and trying to figure out how to bring it into our life. So it's a really good question. The way I would want to probably say it, and this might sound a little strange in some ways, or very Christian in some ways, or any form of religion, but really it's, how does the highest universal source, I say God, it could be Allah, Jah, how does that source see you? And when you see yourself with that same love and light, without judgment, without fear, right? Without expectations, without guilt, what does that look like? And that truly is self-love. When you can stop blaming yourself. It's so much on getting rid of the negative thoughts and feelings that own us on the inside, and just allowing ourselves to love who we are and be human. And that's probably how I would, for me, say embracing self-love is, which is why it's so difficult, because I really believe in life we go through constant lessons on how to detox our thoughts and feelings. And I say detox your thoughts and feelings because I teach a course called that. So I'm very used to that title, but really that's what it is on a daily basis is, what is happening with our thoughts and feelings that's maybe stopping us from healing and moving and growing physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And once we blast that out of our system, self-love comes in, and it's a beautiful thing. Does that make sense? It sounds like quite the way to start the conversation.
I think it makes perfect sense. It's one of the things that I like people to understand, right? Your first love is you.
Agreed. And I honestly, I have a beautiful picture up on my wall that says, the greatest joy in life is to love and be loved. And I really do believe that we're all here about love, and our greatest lessons are around self-love. So, if you're in anything causing you disruption, anything that triggers you, anything that's causing imbalance, anything that's causing you pain, it's happening for you, not to you. And when you start seeing how life is happening for you, and I know that's tough for some people that are in some pretty heavy situations, but we start to look at life in a different way, and we start to learn how to love ourselves through it. And that's what can get us through. But I really do believe self-love is our biggest journey here on earth. I really do. It's the number one lesson that we're here to learn. Every client I've had, I mean, I've been in my industry for over 25 years. Every client I've ever seen, any course I've taught, any work I've done on myself, it's always come back to self-love and self-worth, which is powerful. It's really powerful.
It really is. And self-respect comes in there too, doesn't
Yes,
it? The respecting of yourself. And once you love and respect yourself, which I believe go hand in hand, you treat the world around you differently, and others treat you differently.
Mm-hmm.
But it
your
starts
frequency, your vibration's different, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have to be careful of what you put on the walls. I like what's on your wall. I saw a friend who had on her wall, "In order to be loved, you must be lovable." And I thought, ouch. I left her house and I thought, I think I kind of know what she's trying to say. But to read that every day means that you're there only to please others around you, and no one will love you unless you are what they consider to be lovable.
Yeah, words are powerful. Words are powerful.
They certainly
because I'll tell you something really interesting, and something for your listeners as well. By the time you actually say something verbally, okay, so something like, say, an affirmation verbally about yourself, you've already thought it over 100 times. So if you're like, when you do something, you're like, oh man, I'm stupid, right?
Yep.
If you're saying that, which is detrimental to yourself, you're not loving yourself, you're putting yourself down, you've already thought it a minimum of 100 times before you verbally said it. So by the time you verbally say it, that shows you how much your internal dialogue is causing a lack of self-love. And that's huge for people to recognize and listen. So one of the greatest things you can do is, if you're living with someone, or you've got a partner, you've got children, friends, and you hear them say something, there's a couple of things you can do. You can just say that again. And then that'll stop people from that constant, pattern, and go, oh, what did I just say? Oh, you just called yourself stupid. I did? So the next time you're like, you start to recognize it, right? Because awareness is half the battle into starting to make shifts. So next time somebody says, oh man, I'm so stupid. And you say, wait, say that again. Oh, I said it. Gee. So then all of a sudden you start to correct yourself. One of the things we did in a retreat, when I used to hold retreats all the time, I wouldn't let people on the retreat on the 7 days say, I'm sorry. Because we Canadians are sorry for everything. I'm sorry. So instead they had to change it to I'm sexy. Oh. And what happened was, exactly, they laugh, right? Exactly. And it was so funny, because instead of saying sorry, they have to go, oh, I'm sexy. And then they would laugh. And then if someone said you're sorry, they're like, oh, you're sexy. By the end of the 7 days, everyone's saying, well, I'm sexy. Oh, you're sexy. And it was funny. And it was so funny. It was actually, I was at a grocery store, and I was putting food on the little conveyor belt thing, right, for the cashier. And I can't remember, something happened, and I did something in front of the guy. I was in front of this man behind me, and I turned around and said to him, oh, I'm sexy, instead of I'm sorry.
Oh,
and he
no.
looked at me like I was crazy. But I laughed, and I thought, we need something to get us out of that mindset of how we're always constantly putting ourselves down. And so there's a little tip for you, and and for your listeners.
I love that.
Yeah, you can have fun with it. You have to say something else. So yeah, it's a start, and it's a good way to get us to start recognizing what's going on internally, because we've had to have thought it already 100 times for us to verbalize it. And that's pretty powerful.
Mm-hmm. Well, isn't it George Carlin who said that being angry with someone and holding a grudge against someone and being angry is the equivalent of trying to poison them by you swallowing the poison yourself?
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
I think that it's a good message to remember, when you sit there with all this self-loathing, you are poisoning yourself with every single thing you say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really, how is this happening for me, not to me, is also an incredible tool to allow people a chance to say, oh, wow, I'm not pointing blame. This wasn't, you did this to me, and you said that to me, and because of you, I'm in this situation. Or Oh, no, 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 no. If you start looking at everything in life happens for you, you start seeing things in a much different way. And, and I think those are the basis of how to start shifting into self-love. Because it's not an easy process. And, everyone thinks personal development and growing is like sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops. And it's not. It's hard work. I call it soul work. Like, it is hard soul work, and it's never ending. But things do become easier the more we grow and the more we look internally. But it's not an easy process. And people have to be gentle on themselves, and they have to remember to love themselves through the process, because it's not easy. But it's doable and it's possible. And, I can definitely say, even from my own journey, that it gets easier. You'll always be tested, but it gets easier. But I think Valentine's Day, like you said, focusing on the most important relationship is self. Because once you love yourself, then life shifts and changes, and the people around you aren't as toxic. Relationships are easier to take. Communication is said with love. Things shift and change. And when you love yourself, it's so much easier to love others.
I really do.
My thought.
I believe that. And it's sometimes, in the radio world here and the podcast world, when there's silence, people think that it's a bad thing. But sometimes the silence is just a matter of absorbing and taking in what's being said. So if there are a few pauses today, don't try and fill them. Use those pauses to absorb what has just been said.
Yeah, true. Yeah, very true.
Yeah. Well, Angela, you use color psychology as a tool. Now, we both know that there are physiological responses to color that are well documented, and we can do a science data dump, but I don't think that's what people are really interested in. We know, for example, in the physiological world, that the white streetlights of days of old are now being replaced with a more orange, warm light that keeps you awake, stimulates you but doesn't aggravate you. And these are all things that are physiological responses to color that come into our lives in many ways. The red stop sign, all these different things. Those are physiological responses to color. And that's another show and a whole team of scientists. What we're talking about today is the psychology of color and the energies of color. And when I say energies, a lot of people say, oh, well, there you go again on the wooey side of things. But in fact, if you look at red text sometimes, although it does attract your attention, it can ring. And when it rings, it actually looks like it's vibrating quickly back and forth. Colors have energy. The studies that show that people who don't have sight, people who are blind, if you put a red cloth and a black cloth in front of them, they put their hands over top of them, they'll tell you which one has color and which one doesn't, because color has energy. So let's talk about the different energies from different colors.
Yeah, I love the topic. And I love it when it comes into personal development, because we are surrounded by color every day, and we don't realize that it's food for our soul. So think of color as vitamins and minerals for the soul. And if you live in Canada right now in February, when it's one of the dreariest months of the year, we need color. And, I had a really close friend of mine who's also part of my membership. I have a Colorful Creators community, and we work in personal development. And she said to me the other day, it wasn't long ago, she's like, Angela, I should know better with you as my friend. I didn't even realize I was feeling so depressed and so down and so blah and struggling. And she's like, I have a gray couch. I have black cushions. I'm wearing black today. My walls are painted in gray. She's like, I have no color in my home decor. So she went out and bought some color. So it's so imperative. I mean, we've been marketed to with color for years and years and years. As you said, it's been scientifically proven, and it works. From portion controlled food companies using blue labeling because it suppresses our appetite, to fast food restaurants being red, orange, and yellow because it stimulates our appetite. So yeah, it's really quite powerful. Hospitals being painted in blue and green for healing, prisons being painted in pink to calm aggression. It's really quite phenomenal. And it's used everywhere, from the holidays we have and the colors to, in so many ways, marketing wise, home decor, foods we eat, clothing we wear. So with that all being said, it's depending on the more you learn about, I should say, personal development, the more you can learn the color that's associated with the issue you're working on and use that color to support you. And that's what I love. But we're talking Valentine's. So let's kind of keep it to a relationship partnership. How's that?
Sounds great.
Because I can talk hours and hours on color. So let's say, first and foremost, we started the top with self-love. And self-love's color is pink. And a lot of people, if you are out there and you're saying, oh my God, I don't like pink. Well, then I want you to take a look at self-love and self-value and self-worth, because pink is a universal hug. Pink is the color that says you are loved, you are worthy, and it's all about self-love. Now, I've always said it's very interesting that the color for breast cancer is pink, a pink ribbon, and women who are givers and give to everyone and don't know how to give to themselves suffer with the lack in the heart chakra of pink energy. And so interesting for me that the breast color cancer picture is pink, right? So it's very interesting in cases like that because pink feeds them and that's what they need. So again, going into another whole topic, but pink for self-love. So Valentine's Day, we're very used to 4 main colors. We're used to the pink, but we're used to white, black, and also red. So we know right away that red, passion. Red's about passion and action. And when you need movement, you want red. So if you think of walking into a lingerie shop in Valentine's Day, usually those are the colors that you see. The red, the pink, the white, the black. Doesn't mean there's not other colors, but they don't usually induce, Valentine-ish kind of relationships. But red is all about passion and action. So if you're with a partner and say your sex drive's a little low and you want to spice it up a little bit, that's why you get things like, red boxes of chocolate and you throw a red cushion on the bed and maybe you have red sheets for that night or you get a red candle. The scent of patchouli and sandalwood have the same frequency and you bring red in, the red roses. Okay, so that's all the red. It's about let's create some action and passion. If you've got the black, it's about mystery. So on Valentine's Day, when you see a lot of black lingerie, there's a lot of, lacy products in black, or whatever it may be. Black is about respect, but it's also about mystery. But it also doesn't allow you to express emotion. So it's usually a color that you would associate with somebody who's maybe in a relationship that's purely physical and not emotionally connected. White is about divinity and innocence, which is why we see white bridal dresses, right? Virginity, innocence, purity. So white shows that as well. As we get into Valentine's Day, it says, I'm innocent, right?
Yeah.
Healthy. No, even though we want to be saved, but you know what I mean? And then we've got the pink, which is about self-love. So those are the main colors in Valentine's Day, but we can bring all colors in for fun. So orange is about play. So maybe you and your partner, or even just you yourself, need more play, which most of us adults do. We neglect in play. We're busy working. So if you're alone on Valentine's Day too, and I know it's COVID and it's tough, but what can you do to have fun for yourself? Maybe you want to go for a nice walk. Maybe you take your dogs for a walk. Maybe call a friend that you haven't spoken to for a while. Maybe sit down and watch a stand-up comedy show on Netflix and have a good laugh. That's actually still loving yourself. And if you're with a partner, you can find a way to play together. And that's the orange energy. Yellow is about friendship. So say there is a friend that you haven't talked to in a while. Maybe send them some yellow flowers or a beautiful card that's got yellow and a yellow envelope, because yellow's sunshiny and it's bright and it definitely is needed this time of year. So yellow is a great color if you want to bring in a friendship vibe. Greens and blues are emotionally connected. So greens, we can say, again, do you need to heart connect with your partner? Maybe spending some time cooking together, doing something together, paint a room together. It could be very good, giving each other a massage, right? That's something you're doing together that can open up the heart chakra and feel connected. You can do a meditation that's about connection together. All that's beautiful and it connects into the heart chakra, which the blue is also emotionally connected, which is the calming and peaceful side of the emotions. Again, maybe you both are working all the time and you feel like you just don't have a break. Maybe you take a chance to just say, you know what? Normally I would say, go away overnight. and find a nice, beautiful place to just chill and relax. It's COVID. So what I've been suggesting to people is put a travel station on the TV, watch the water come into the beach. Like there's beautiful YouTube channels where you can put on a beach and just watch water. What can you do to put on some soft, soothing music? Do something, light some candles, right? Have a dance in the living room together. That's very much blue energy. And then when you get into the indigo violets, they're spiritual based colors. So this is about connection to your soulmate. And you want to definitely take a look again at what can you do together. Do you meditate together, pray together, chant together, write yourself and write your partner a love letter? Because, some of us have been together in relationships for years and years. And when was the last time you wrote a love letter to your partner? Those are things you can do that bring in the color. So when you need to write it in a purple pen, or write it on purple paper or put it in a purple envelope. There's ways you can bring color in that connect. And I feel like I'm talking a lot, which I always do.
No, that's absolutely fine. I was wondering if you watched the inauguration for Biden.
I did. I actually posted on all the colors that the women wore that day.
Did you notice that Kamala and many of the women there were wearing purple, and they were saying that it was an election campaign color, and I was thinking to myself, no, it isn't. There is a really good reason why they're wearing purple, and it has more to do with divinity and connection to the divine than it does to anything else. And that subliminal connection, it was not by accident that they were wearing all purple. All the women of power were wearing the purple. And Biden's wife was wearing the blue. And it was like a sapphire blue. Isn't that, there's just no misunderstanding those messages.
No. And I posted on Instagram and Facebook about that because I thought it was so important for people to see that it's used so strategically. Right? Like, and somebody actually also mentioned as I was going through different posts about it all, that the purple is also the red and the blue, the Republicans and the Democrats. And I thought, well, that's an interesting take. It's the combination. However, when you take a look at the different shades of what the women were wearing, it's about royalty. It's about being authentic. It's about being respected. It's about knowing that there's a higher purpose. It's standing in your power. I found it fascinating. And then having Joe Biden in the blue was all about authenticity, communication, a refreshing start. It was about voicing your truth. I loved it. I looked at it. And did you notice they were all solid colors? There was no pattern. Absolutely. I'll tell you something else. You know how Donald Trump wore red ties all the time? Granted, a Republican color, but there's a positive and a negative thought for each color. So as much as red's about passion and action, the opposite is also fear. And I think that's very interesting that he constantly wore a red tie. And really, he invoked so much fear into the world. And, God loves him if you're a Trump fan, God love you and all the best. But I look at it and think it was about power, control, dominance, and fear.
And that's always black, right? Always a black.
You got it. So it is really amazing how it works. Now, some people will say, well, I love color, but I don't look good in this color. I don't look good in yellow. But please remember, color is everywhere. You look around, color is everywhere. It's the way you decorate. It's the food you eat. It's when you go to a store, what attracts you. It's the mug you drink out of in the morning. It's so much. We can bring it in lots of ways besides clothing. But I did love how that showed so much about color psychology.
Absolutely. And I thought about you the whole time I was watching it. I thought, Angela's going to be loving this.
I watched the whole thing, and I totally did. And I posted about it because I found it fascinating, and I just love it. But
I just have to say,
colors everywhere.
It is. And one of the funniest things is that in the end, when all was said and done, the most memorable moment was the mittens. And these mittens are now popping up everywhere. And what are the colors in the mittens? The mittens are brown and different shades of brown, the roots, the grounding.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mother
not
Earth.
it's not by accident that those mittens are so darn popular.
Isn't it amazing? And this is a beautiful thing when I work with people and they become part of the membership, or I've had a session with them or whatever it may be. They start to see color in a new way, in a new light. And all of a sudden, they realize not only can it affect me, but it's everywhere. And I wasn't realizing it. And so as soon as you have that awareness, the world becomes brighter and more interesting, so much more interesting. And I love that. And then we can start to utilize it. See, when I was saying earlier, like personal development is not the sunshine, lollipops, and roses, but color makes it bearable and makes it doable. And so it's definitely a way to move through life and understand it better and easier. And for those that understand, it has to do with the chakras, for sure, the 7 chakras, which is Sanskrit word meaning energy that we have. And I teach in the 7, but it's, and that's another big piece of it. But it always comes back to it affects us. And the more we see it and the more we understand it, the easier it is for us to use it. And it's a really easy, fun tool. Like, do you remember the first crayon you ever took out of a crayon box?
Mm-hmm.
What color was it?
I think it was the pink.
Was it?
Yeah, the bright pink.
And how does that make you feel today?
It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like it was fun. Coloring was going to be something that was fun. A bit scary, but fun.
Awesome. And do you think that color is in your life today? Is it one of your favorite colors? Or how would you rank it as a favorite to least favorite?
I would say it's like in the second tier of favorite colors. I'm really, really enjoying blues and greens. Have always been my colors since the dawn of time. Red has never been my color, honestly. And in a lollipop situation, when everyone I knew grabbed for the red one, I like the green one the best. The green was always my favorite lollipop. On that note, I'm going to remind the listeners that they are listening to Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson, and we're speaking this morning with Angela Dacey. We have to take a little break, and we're going to come back and talk about lollipops and love as soon as we get back from our break here. You're listening to Fresh Waves. We'll be right back. We're back on Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson, and today we are talking with the one and only Angela Dacey. Angela is a personal development person. She really helps people develop themselves, their businesses. She does organic marketing, which is a whole other show, and she uses color psychology as one of her tools in her practice. And I just love the fact that we can use color in our lives to enhance our lives, to bring us interesting emotions. And just before the break, we were talking about lollipops, and we were talking about the first color that you pull out of a crayon box. Can we do that same experiment with ourselves today? Or once we know the colors, are we kind of looking for the color that we feel we need, as opposed to feeling what color we are drawn to and then choosing it?
Oh, you know what? We don't need to understand color psychology to know what color is attracting us. We know, our body knows, our soul knows. If you want to open a crayon box and see what color am I looking at first, like if you remember the 64 pack, with the sharpener on the side, I used to love that. when you have 60, I was so excited as a kid. I loved color back then. But when you open that crayon box, there is going to be one color that jumps out to you on a color that you want to pull. What is that color? I just bought myself a set of like 25 different shades of color of markers because I have to write in lots of different colors. I can't use a black pen. And so, what's the color I'm gravitating to? So you can do it as in like, what's important for me today? I used to stand in front of my closet. When I was a kid, my mom always wanted to put my clothes out for me the night before. I hated that. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to want to wear. And she used to think I was crazy. Like, I'm getting your clothes ready for school. I can't do that. I have to wait till the morning, wake up, see how I feel. And now I understand why, right? And then I look at my closet and I'm like, what's jumping out at me today? And I pull a color. So that color is usually what we're in need of for the day. And I find it's very cool. Like, depending on what's happening, am I doing a speaking gig? I might be attracted to blue. I was in a webinar last week and it was on a Zoom call and I wore blue because it's about communication and expression. Today, funny enough, I have on indigo. So I'm looking at inner peace and the spiritual side to color talking to you today. Sometimes, you know what, I'm feeling run down. Maybe my immune system's low and I'll be gravitating towards red because I want to stimulate my immune, which red does. It provides warmth and it provides physical strength. So I find that you get focused and your attention goes to what you need. Now, if you're someone who always gets attracted to blacks and grays, I do say be careful. That is like zero vitamins and minerals. That's like eating an all-carb diet and never going to anything else. We need to feed our soul, and colorful foods, as you know, have more vitamins and minerals than, say, white foods do. And so what happens is we need to make sure we bring color into our life, or we can be depleted of energy. So what we choose, what we go for first, is a good indication of where we are at. And one of the best things I could do when I'm at a trade show or I'm at an event, somebody's like, what is color psychology? Like, there's so much you can talk about. I usually just say, well, what's your favorite color and what's your least favorite color? And even from that, I know a whole bunch about what's going on with that person, because we're attracted, as well as not attracted, to the colors that mean something. And it's powerful. So, you know, there was a time when I had no green in my life, like no clothing, no decor. It wasn't a color I was attracted to. And the more I looked into myself and the more I healed my own stuff, and I was in personal development, taking courses, and the more I realized it's all about the heart chakra, and it was about the balance of giving and receiving love. And I had just been going through so much heart issues, you know, dealing with past issues, past trauma. I was healing sexual abuse. I was going through a marriage that wasn't great. There was so much that was hurting my heart. I was staying away from green because green heals the heart. And I was in it. I was in the depths of all the crap, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, but then because I had that awareness, I started slowly bringing it in. And what happened was it helped me move forward in my healing. So then step by step by step, I was able to start getting into healing my heart. Now I love green. And I'm like you, I'd rather be in the forest, you know. I have actually, my whole bedroom is painted in green, like green. And I don't mean a little bit. I mean, I have green. Like, it looks like I'm in a palm tree tropical place in my bedroom. So I've gone from like no green to tons of green in my life. So it's interesting how color has helped me move through healing, and it can for anybody out there. But it says a lot about you. It says a lot about you. And it's a very interesting. Oh, you could go on I'm going to do a little plug because I forgot. I have a colorful quiz on my website at livelifecolorfully.com. And you can go and take the quiz, and it says, what's your favorite color? And it'll tell you what that means. What's your least favorite color? And it'll tell you what that means. And it gives you an insight into how to start moving forward with color. So it's a fun little quiz to do, and it doesn't cost anything.
Okay. So it just starts with what's your favorite color and what's your...
That was it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to process it while I'm talking at the same time, which never usually goes well for me.
Well, I hope I'm making sense to people listening, because again, I can go in tangents in different places just because I trust whatever comes is what I meant to say. But I also know that I can talk about it for hours.
Right. So
I love it. So
give us another example of a question on your colorful quiz. What's something else that would indicate where a person's at, so to speak?
So yeah, if you wanted to do little things, I would say pull a crayon from a crayon box, or pick the marker from the things. If you don't have any of those, just go to a store and see what attracts you.
Well, don't go to a store right now because we're under a lockdown.
Right now.
You know what I mean. Go online.
But that's true, right? Go online and start looking at home decor sites and taking a look at what color you're being attracted to. I find going into image websites like Pexels, Pexels, Pexels.com, and you can type in the color blue, and all these beautiful pictures will show up of blue. And then type in purple, see what comes up, and see what you're really attracted to. Wow, this just mesmerizes me. I love it. If you go onto my Instagram, what I do is I always do 3 posts in a row focused in one color. So you can scroll through Instagram and you might just really get attracted to the oranges, and then wow, am I ever attracted to that? And then go seek out other things that are orange and find out how you feel. There's so many ways to just kind of give yourself a chance to analyze what color's attracting you. And then you can just go to my website. There's tons of info. And whether it's looking up the color orange or watching a blog or seeing the color of the month, I got tons of videos. It'll teach you about it and tell you about it. And you'll get some understanding for sure. But it's a great way to start. It's a really great way to start. And
it's interesting.
It's, again, being aware.
Exactly.
And color. Color. I'm coming out with a coloring book, which I'm so excited about, with an amazing artist named Ned Burwell from Ingersoll, Ontario. And I'm so excited to bring this out because his designs are just amazing, like absolutely amazing. And the fact that we're going to get to color in these are great. But we're going to do 21 pages of coloring with 21 messages, with 21 meditations. And, I think that's a cool thing you can do. My whole purpose in this coloring book is you can go to the page you want, read what the message is, and if it resonates with you, do the meditation and color that page and see what colors emerge. Like, what are you choosing? And if you could only pick even 2 colors to do a whole page on a coloring book, what 2 colors would they be? And your designs will look phenomenal and tell you a lot. And that's a great way that you can have some fun as well. And again, it's part of play, and we need to play as adults. And it's a neat thing. I even color with my partner. It's something we can do as adults, and it's quite nice to do together. You put on some nice music. Some people might think it sounds hokey, but it's actually a real beautiful time. You kind of get lost into just what you're doing, and it's meditative, and you're doing it together, and you pick your favorite color each, and you start coloring and seeing what you create. And that could be a really beautiful thing to do on Valentine's Day since we're locked inside.
Well, Dr. Bezel van der Kolk in his book, I can't remember the name of the title exactly yet, but one of the things he always says is that in order for a brain to heal and perform at its utmost, it needs to learn to create and play freely. And so many of us need to get back to that spot where don't sit down with your coloring book, no matter whether it's yours or anyone else's. And I'm an expressive arts practitioner, so this rings true to my heart. You don't sit down with the coloring book and think this has to be perfect and it has to be exactly the way that the world would anticipate it to be. It's that Harry Chapin song, "Flowers are red, my friend, and green leaves are green. There's no other way that a flower should be than a way that a flower should be seen." And it's one of those things where the more organic it is, the better it is. Even now that you and your partner, Angela, have been coloring together, put on some music. Try this little one. I love this activity. You put on some music and you take your outline color, whichever that is. For lots of people, it's black, but for other people, it's blue or green or whatever color. And just start making lines. Dance your hand around the page and make your own little design. And then take your colors after that and color in the spaces or color in the spots between the spaces. Do whatever is organic to you. It's another step in the flow of creativity. It's a really cool activity. And it makes for beautiful cards that you can give to people as well.
It's very true. It's very true. One of the I love that because as a kid, I used to do that. I used to put my pen to the paper and just do all these squiggly lines and then color in between. And then I felt like I created like a stained glass look, right?
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. One of the things I got into through COVID, I call them my COVID creations. I took out a bunch of beads that I had from when my kids were little, and I started stringing them together on thread with crystals and making sun catchers. And I made over 30, and I realized I would have someone in mind. And I would come up with 2 colors that for some reason were coming to me for that person. And I would drop them off on the doorsteps, or I would mail them because of COVID. And they would, let me know that, oh my goodness, you won't believe this. This is what I'm going through. And this is what this means to me. And the colors were always bang on for what they needed. And now I'm into painting birdhouses. My boyfriend makes birdhouses and I sit and I decorate them. And it's, again, just to play with color. There's no right or wrong. I made a Mardi Gras birdhouse because I went to Mardi Gras last year and it was like, I miss it. That was so much fun and so colorful. It's such a colorful event.
Yeah. And I wonder which bird is going to be attracted to that Mardi Gras.
I'm so excited to see. But the nice thing is anything goes. Like, again, there's no right or wrong. And you can puts whatever you want together with color. And it's a beautiful thing. It never looks bad, ever. It's color. And that's what's fun. So I do, you being in the creative, expressive arts, understand this for sure. And I've definitely found I need to do something creative on an ongoing basis for me just to be at peace. Now that's part of my personality as well, but it's also something that, it takes our mind away from the mundane, go, routine, same old, and puts us actually to where our soul is speaking. And our soul can tell us a lot about what's going on when we start to get tuned into the creative side of us. And color does that. Color's so fun. It's so easy.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy. It's so easy. My girlfriend Vicky and I, now again, it was during COVID, but it was in the summertime. We went down to our little downtown Main Street and we took chalk and we just did beautiful sayings and chalk drawings up and down the whole street to make people happy and smile. And just to work with the color was fun. And at the same time, it brings color to life and it made people happy. Like there's so many small ways you can do it.
Yeah,
but fun ways.
And creative. I love the signage now outside of some of the old age homes. We love you, Nanny, a big sign so that every time the grandmother looks out the window, she can see the sign because she can't see her kids. But it's so beautifully decorated and lovely colors. And this one in particular has blue and green hearts as well as red hearts, and it's just fantastic. And then some children also painted stones that are now all over the walkway. And on each side of the walkway, if you look down and you see the flowers, so you look at the flowers, and then right underneath the flowers is a beautiful stone that's been painted with a happy face and "We love you" underneath. It's so sweet. It's just great.
It makes you happy, right? It makes you happy. It's a beautiful thing. So it's definitely, when it comes back to what you were saying around self-love, I think it's a beautiful way to spread love, but it's also a way for you to honor yourself and love yourself, because we are made up of 7 different chakras and 7 different colors. I mean, there's more than that, but the main ones are 7. So we'll focus on that. And we are rainbows. And if we want every single piece of our rainbow to shine brightly, then we got to work on ourselves and we've got to, keep healing and growing and shifting and changing and loving. And I think definitely color can support us in that. So
that's the key, isn't it? The key, you just said it, that color can support us in that. We're not saying to bring, if you always wear green underwear, you're going to love yourself till the end of time. But what we do say is that green might support the love that you need or the love that you feel. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I was going to say it can't hurt, right? It's if you're, again, I've come across many naysayers in the world too, of course. And I always think, okay, but really, what does it hurt? Even if you don't, right? Even if you don't think it's going to help, does it really hurt to try?
No.
Because if you're in a place that you do need to be uplifted, you do need to find more joy or passion or courage or belief or inner peace, or you need those things in your life, then try it. Music affects us. We all know that. We all know we can put on a song to make us cry and put on a song to make us dance, put on a song to give us memories. Well, that's just a frequency and an energy and a vibration. So why not give color a try too? Just like smell is the exact same. It's such a great way for us to support ourselves and support others. When I had a store years ago on Main Street, Newmarket, I used to put together colored packages for people. So if someone, for example, like say because of seasonal affective disorder, we all kind of go through it right now, and some people much worse than others. The 2 best colors you can use in February in Canada are orange and yellow, because we need to play and we need to have fun and we need to actually believe there's sunshine and find positivity on the dark days. So if you bring in citrus foods, for example, there's your orange and yellows. If, we can bring those colors into our life in whatever way, shape, and form in that month of February, it's easier to get through. So why not, right? Why not buy yourself a beautiful bouquet of flowers in orange and yellow? Like I said, maybe put in some citrus candles, put on some tropical music, do something that's going to make you feel like it's summertime. And it actually can remove you from a state of depression, from feeling isolated, and down in the dumps in a month that unfortunately has really high suicide rates. Mm-hmm. And we want to get people out of that negative mental roadblock into a place of knowing there's life. And orange and yellow show a lot of life.
Well, it's
They really
interesting
do.
that you say that, because that also brings us back to the Valentine's Day thing. And we're surrounded with what you said, the red, the white, the black. There's nothing to say that you need to set up your dining room or wherever you're going to have your nice Valentine's Day meal that you've made for yourself. Let's make that perfectly clear. You have cooked for yourself something that you absolutely love, or you've gone out to a restaurant and bought your favorite things, because it's all about pleasing you and loving you on Valentine's Day. And you don't have to listen to old, sad love songs that make you sad and wishing that you had someone else there in a time when you physically can't and emotionally may not be able to. So, you can put on your Bob Marley and the Wailers and pretend that you're on a beach in the South. You can decorate your room to be sunny and bright and cheery. It doesn't have to be red and black and white. And, bring in some lovely colors, some music, some candlelight. There's your yellow and oranges again in the candlelight.
That's right.
Isn't it
Right.
interesting? So you can create a space that is uniquely yours on Valentine's Day. It doesn't have to fall into the cliched Valentine's love, passion, yada, yada, yada.
And I'm going to throw one more piece to that too, because I'm now in a relationship, but there's many years I wasn't. And one of the beautiful things you can do if you are wanting to manifest an amazing, healthy relationship on Valentine's, take a purple pen or a purple journal or something, again, in that violet color, because it's the soulmate connection color, because it's divinity helping you find someone connecting to your soul, and write down everything that's positive that you want in a partner. And I've done this. And, I always said I wouldn't settle, and I always said that I have patience. And I'm very blessed to have an amazing man in my life right now, which is amazing. So I do suggest, because I've done this too, on Valentine's Day, if you want to manifest, not everybody wants a partner, but if you want to manifest that partner, start writing down, telling the universe, here's what I want in the most perfect partner. And when we ask, we actually release free will, and we allow the universe to support us and guide us. And if we do this on Valentine's Day and you utilize the color of violet, what happens is, like, you're already telling the universe, you're aligning your energies to that goal. And so have some fun with the violet energy too. But I mean, I do agree. We can celebrate in different ways, and it doesn't have to be the typical way that we're marketed to, which is red and pink and black and white, right?
Yeah.
We're always marketed to a particular way. We're told how we should buy. We're told, and I mean, marketing is my background, so I have a love-hate relationship with it, because we're told how we should buy. We're told how we should feel,
Yeah.
We're told that Valentine's Day is when everyone should get engaged with thousands of dollars of an engagement ring. Like, we're told this, we're marketed to. And really, it's about, how do we just want to celebrate love? So is it loving yourself, or loving your friends, or loving your family, or loving your partner? Let's just have some fun with love and have a good time with it. And yeah, if you're feeling down in the dumps, I totally agree, Bren. Like, throw some fun music on and have some fun colors and cook yourself a great meal and do something that would be for you. How do you want to be treated? Treat yourself that way.
Yeah. Listen to some Snatum Coor. Listen to something
I
different.
just this morning. That's what I was listening to before our chat. And David Permal. David Permal is my go-to girl too. Like Satnam Kerr, it's same type of feel and vibe. And when I need to get into a little bit more of my spiritual self, or I just need to find some peace, that's the music I put on.
Right.
And I love her to bits. Yeah, I love her to bits.
Well, Angela, as usual, we are out of time. And we could talk for another 5 hours together. So we will have another show very soon. I promise all the listeners I'll get Angela back on very, very soon. And we'll talk, some more about colors and marketing and all the fun things around us. Things that maybe you're not aware of that you should be aware of. I feel a show coming on. Anyway, thanks for joining us this morning, Angela. I really appreciate your time and love having you on the show. This is Angela Dacey. She is a personal development teacher, I would say. And she uses color psychology in all that she does. You have a website. What is the website?
LiveLifeColorfully.com. And
Perfect.
That's also my social media. It's Canadian spelt, though. with the O-U-R.
Yes.
live life colorfully.
As far as I'm concerned, that's the way it should be spelled. So live life colorfully. Angela Dacey, thank you so much for being our guest on Fresh Waves this morning. I'm your host, Bren Masson. Until next time, everybody, have a wonderful day. Enjoy your Valentine's Day and love yourself as the most important person in your life.